Hey there, guys. I'm Toby Rudolph, and you're about to listen to the ET Stand podcast. Shaka, brah.
For over 50 years, people have come to see the Sharks play. Talent, skill, speed, intelligence, elite-level athleticism. That's not these guys. Biased, one-eyed, opinionated, more often wrong than right. They make up for their complete lack of talent with pure dribble, gibberish, and enthusiasm. This is the ET Stand podcast.
Cherry Evans, a shark? Surely not. Welcome to the ET Stand, the Cronulla Sharks fans podcast that lets its talking do the football. We're live tonight on YouTube and Facebook, also available on audio on delay in all of the good places as the Sharks go crashing out of the prelim final stage in 2025 in both the men's and women's NRL. Here to review the match, the season, and what's next for the Sharks are my good friends, Franko, Latz, and Kelly. Welcome, gentlemen.
Hello,
gentlemen. Shaka bra. Men who would all be familiar with pouring drinks onto poker machines. Latz, you would have done that in your day.
I've witnessed it. I didn't actually partake in it myself, but I felt like it at times.
Yes, well, I'm sure it's illegal, Chris, to pour drinks on poker machines.
He has been charged for
frowned
it
upon.
so far. It's frowned upon, old Chevy Stewart, but there's Northies have struck down many careers in these days. So
I'd never have a war or feud with Northies, would I, Chris?
Never been banned, have you, Boldo?
Never been banned from Northies. Anyway, reminder with you. A story for another day. Reminder to hit the subscribe button if you're new to the ET Stand channel. In the off-season, we're going to have a couple of videos and updates happening as things go on order, but we won't run a regular Tuesday night. We'll do it sometimes. So we'll get those updates happening if we're going to do special episodes and special shows. We'll probably do an off-contract players review deep dive, perhaps with Franko. I want to do a top 10 match Sharks fans should watch if you are new to the club. So the best way to get notified of our videos as we release them is to be subscribed and have the notifications turned on. So do that. We have the Discord channel, which is your way to be involved in 24/7 Sharks chatter. So if you want to know what DCE had for lunch, Matt, then I would say that the Discord channel might be a good way to do that. We'll certainly chat DCE. But in the meantime, we have our final live regular season show. If you're looking for a place to watch the grand final, then join me down at Miranda Hotel. We've got rugby league related polarizers on offer from about 5 p.m. Miranda Hotel has been our sponsor this year, so we'll get down there and sadly watch the grand final like sorry sad sacks there. So the booking link is in the description. They're giving away a few jerseys. I've given them some displayware units and some Sharks tickets as well. So if you know me, you're probably more likely to win the prize because you'll know the type of questions I might ask. On this episode, we're going to cover off on the DCE rumours and what it means for the Sharks if we were to sign DCE in the unlikely nature that happens. We'll review what went wrong in the Melbourne match with our fresh takes. And I just want to shout out my good friend Franko for carrying me in that debrief on Friday night. I was just shattered after that loss, wasn't I, Franko? It hurt.
Struggling so bad you had technical issues.
Technical difficulties, didn't know what to say. I was just a mess. We're going to have the final player tiers of the season. We'll give you a quick update on the off-contract players and what movements we might expect to see. We'll chat NRLW, and we will also announce the winner of the comment competition. So if you are Scotty McLaren, Cecil, Benny Turner, Tomo, Stuart Campbell, SJD, Shauno, Mr. Dave, Rob Wall, SJD again, Pete Bissett and James Munro, you are all in the draw.
And Harley last week. Did we mention Harley?
Oh, yeah, we've got to put in Harley. That's why I read the names out. That's right. I missed Harley. Harley, you're in there.
Thank you.
That's why. If I've missed anyone else, do get it.
So if you don't win, your name wasn't in the hat. Is that...
Right. This is who I have in the draw.
Comment to put yourself in there.
Yeah. If you're not in the draw, then just comment and you might get added to the draw if we haven't added you by accident. Oh, goodness me. The professionalism of this show just goes on in leaps and bounds. All right. We've had a few comments come through already, so let's just quickly run through. There's a Matt Axiak says, any word on what DCE had for lunch with Fitzy? I'm pretty sure they went to sea level, didn't they? Someone, Franko, Chris, did they go to sea level?
Story.
Yeah, I
sea
woke up to a couple of
nice.
messages. They went to sea level. So I suppose we'll discuss it, but yeah, I
Seafood
don't
platter.
know what he would have had. Yeah, maybe the giant platter for two.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe some
Scotty McLaren says
clam chowder.
Scotty McLaren reckons it's salt and pepper squid from the RSL. Harley correctly points out that the Sharks girls won a game in the Harvey Norman New South Wales Premiership Grand Final. Sure, Lats will talk to us about that. Stewie confirms it was at sea level, so clubs trying to impress. Maybe they shared a tomahawk. Sea level do tomahawks. Isn't sea level like a fish?
Yeah, they cater just not for seafood as well, Boldo. They cater
Sea level. You should sponsor our podcast next season, and we'll talk about your tomahawk and all your food. All right. Stuart Campbell says Chevy Stewart may be available soon after having an argument with the Ricky's laptop at Northies. Yep.
Oh, get that one in. That's the
winner. Stewie, I'm glad you're. That's pretty good. All right, Benny Turner, benefit of the doubt storms. Yeah, that's definitely true. And then Shauna says, what if Fitzy was meeting DC as an assistant coach, not a player? He definitely could help the halves. Oh, we're definitely going to talk about that. So let's put a pin in that comment, Shauna, because Franko might like that. They certainly need a halves coach. And then Benny Turner says, Nico and Neko in the halves. Jeez, I tell you what, the comments are on fire tonight. How good is this? Now that we just got the real fans of the ET stand and actually our friends that watch the show, these comments are so good. They're like on fire.
Benny Turner on fire.
Ned Smith says, I think it was a positive season for Cronulla next year, hopefully better with a new fullback. We'll certainly chat about that as well. All right, so I've got a new fresh take on whether we should re-sign Will Kennedy or not. So look it out for it in the off-contract players segment. I got a new fresh take, but we're going to get into the Sharks news with the one and only Scott Latino, who's going to take us through. Not that, that's the prize wheel, not that one.
Cue the Benny Hill music.
Is that from your other channel?
Oh no, that's the prize wheel for the oh no, hold on, which view do I want? Oh, this is just going so well.
Go back and pause and check if your name's on there, everyone.
Oh right, no, I just put the names in the comments. They're all there.
Oh jeez.
All right,
welcome to the off season.
Why is Boldo in that list 5 times?
Don't know. I just sit at home doing a random draw so I can feel like a winner. Because I was such a loser on the weekend, right? That I just figured, my Premier League team lost, my fantasy team's lost.
I've got news, Boldo. It wasn't just on the weekend.
I'm just a loser in general.
No. All jokes.
All
Alrighty.
right, let's have one. You've got a sponsor. Don't forget our sponsor, Lats. So,
yes.
Lats' news is brought to you by Miranda Hotel. Get to Miranda Hotel to watch the grand final with those $7 skins, $12 mugs, and the ticket along the bottom. Let's get into it.
Alrighty. Sharks fans were left scratching their heads at some of the contentious and conflicting calls in Klein and the Bunkers officiating of our preliminary final last Friday night at Amy Park, especially around the head clash between Jerome Hughes and Braden Trindle. How Hughes was awarded a penalty when the week before in Canberra, Tommy Hazelton was a Category 1 concussion by Starling in a very similar, if not worse manner, and it was just incidental contact play on. Look, not only did fans want answers on that, they also want to know why Hughes was allowed to stay on the field, given that it was a penalty and there was contact with the head and not sent for a HIA. Fitzy also mentioned in the press conference that the amount of penalties, especially in the first half, was ridiculous. Fans deserve better, given that there was only about 22 minutes of football played. The NRL have since come out and stood Klein down for this week's grand final, so that we've been declined, and which will see Grant Atkins officiate his first ever first-grade grand final.
Chris, what's your take on the refereeing? Franko and I discussed it ad nauseum on the debrief.
I agree with a lot of people out there that there should have been less penalties. I absolutely stormed away when I saw this go upstairs for a review, and the video ref was in 50-50 mind whether what he was going to do. And then exactly what I said on the night when it happened was what happened with Tom Hazelton's. And I said to you guys during that game, that was a complete accident. There was nothing else. So play on. I assumed this was going to be the same. I don't know how they found something else. Even if you look at the screenshot, I suppose if we go on a basketball reference, Trindle's in his landing space, so he's supposed to give him somewhere to land, but they clashed heads. I don't understand where a high shot comes into that, and it can be a penalty just for clashing head. That means every head clash from now on is a penalty. Like it just.
Well, that's what it was.
baffled me.
So therefore, last week's one, Chris, was a penalty.
Yes, correct.
And look at what happened with Dale Finucane was it a couple of years ago? He saw time off the field for it, like a week or two. So, and that was just a head clash and heavy contact. So,
well, that's where they sort of muddied the water in talking about intent and recklessness. So Finucane was charging out of the line. He did lead with their head, and while I can see what they're trying to do, they did turn something like a head clash into something that is now grey and up for interpretation. In this scenario, though, while Tricky did run out of the line and put pressure on, he was bending his back, he was motionless, and it was
hit the back of the head, hit the back side of the head.
It was Hughes that landed on his head. Like Hughes face planted into Trindle's head. So I think this at anything should have been play on. While I do agree,
especially given they reviewed it, Franko.
What was that, mate?
Especially given that they reviewed it, they watched it in slow-mo.
They watched it at length. Yeah.
This is where on debrief I stuck up for Klein a little bit, where there was a few calls that everyone was up in arms over. But to be fair, they were sent to the bunker, and the bunker reviewed it wrong. He got it right. He said play on. He turned the ball over, play the ball there in the corner, and then Melbourne Storm challenged it. It went up to the bunker, and this is what happened. So
I think the most people who were annoyed though, Franko, for Klein is there was 3 penalties in the first 5 minutes, and one was against us for holding down, which is supposed to be a 6 again call, and he's getting people outside of, like, I know it was outside the 20, but they're supposed to be sort of having a bit of a leeway, and that's why the 6 again came in. So you're not stopping the game, you're not kicking for touch, and that's what most people were annoyed about, because we all know the Storm are 3 meters offside most times. Like, to be honest, like even when Will set up Sione's first try, Pappenhausen was offside and we got a 6 again call because he stepped around the ruck and actually played at the guy's arm. So it was a 6 again call, but really he's supposed to, if the ball gets dropped there, is he going to call a penalty, or it was just, there was a lot of calls for a prelim final, like a lot.
Certainly.
We know both teams are going to push the envelope, but it's bizarre.
Certainly not defending Klein at all. Just a couple of calls that I think were poorly.
Well, he was due to get something right, Franko.
Yeah, correct.
Now, the one the week before, did the Sharks challenge the Tom? The Sharks challenged the Tom Hazelton in? I can't remember.
No, it went upstairs. It went straight. The bunker looks at it because Tom was knocked out, so they go through the motions and have a look and review it, and just cleared that he lost the ball from being knocked out, and it was Canberra's ball play on. So
and his feet left the ground before contact. Starling's feet left the ground before contact.
Yeah, that was BS.
You got to remember, Starling's 5 foot tall and Tommy's 7 foot. Like it's a big reach to have a head clash.
Oh well, what can you say? I was worried as soon as Klein was named against the Sharks. I've got to admit, we just don't do well under Klein. We knew. All right, on to the next.
All right, the Sharks socials have been sent into a bit of a frenzy over the past 24 hours with news that DCE was spotted in the Shire breaking bread with none other than Coach Fitzy. Early reports came in saying that DCE was seen dining with Johnny Sins or Peter Garrett. Turned out to be Coach Fitz. Look, this was met with some mixed emotions, with some remembering what he did to us and the Titans many moons ago when chasing his signature, but also made a lot of sense to some fans, given that also an assistant coaching role to possibly transition to over the next couple of years. Does this mean Nico to 1 or 13 possibly? Who knows? But personally, I'd love to have someone of his character at the club, as would plenty of fans across the socials. It also excited a lot of Roosters fans, but anyway, we won't touch on that. But maybe, it's a missing link in us securing our second premiership. So watch your space.
Is that his real neck in that picture?
No.
For those?
Yeah. The first one on the left, yes. The one on the right, no.
Yeah, look how massive his neck is.
I know.
Which one are you asking, the Manly one or the Cronulla one?
The Manly one. The Cronulla one's obviously not real. Like, seriously, is that actually his neck?
Yeah. Yes.
Like, is that no? That's not a real
nickname
photo.
the giraffe.
The one on the left is legit.
You have doctored that up, lad.
I have not doctored the one on the left. The one on the right,
yeah. He's not that big.
Mate, Google it. It is.
I'll tell you what, if he comes to us, I'm going to have to change the layout of the damn freaking Sharks team because of the size of his freaking neck.
Didn't you see the comment earlier of Nico and Neko in the half?
Yeah, Nico and Neko. Benny Turner still coming in with the good comments, even though the
We're sticking our
season's
neck
over.
out to get this signing over.
Oh, goodness me.
Oh, well.
Hey, I tell you what, we're shoving this bloody joke down everyone's throats. Anyway, let's keep going.
Look,
All
huge
right,
congratulations to Sharks Harvey Norman women's premiership team on taking out the premiership, downing the Newcastle Knights 18 points to 12 at Combank Stadium on Sunday. The girls scoring all of their points in the first half with tries through Coffee Brookfield, Monique Donovan and Dominique Dutoit, with Ella Rapada converting all 3 tries. The Knights also scored 3 tries, however failed to convert any of them. Such a great season for the girls. You've done the club and the Shire very proud. Well done. Our NRLW girls were unfortunately unable to get the job done in Gosford on Saturday night, going down to the reigning premiers, the Sydney Roosters, 17 points to 16 in an absolute thriller. A 10th minute try to the Roosters winger Jamie Fassard saw the Roosters take the early lead before Brooke Anderson crossed for the Sharks not long after. Try to Olivia Koenig right on the stroke of half-time really hurt us, which saw the Roosters in front at the break, 10 points to 6. However, late in the second half, Roosters fullback Bridie Parker was sent to the bin for a professional foul, with Sharks scoring a quick-fire double through halves Emma Veron and Shantae Korea-Ratu, which saw scores locked up at 16-all with 7 minutes left to play before a heartbreaking field goal scored by the Roosters halfback Jocelyn Kelleher sealed the win for the Roosters. Look, such an incredible game considering the Roosters had won 18 straight games, smashed us 2 weeks prior by 30 points. Anessa Biddle was absolutely amazing for us in this game. Jada Taylor looked dangerous every time she had the ball. It's another great year for the girls too. They've done us very proud. And it looked such a great year across all of our grades, given our 2 senior teams making the prelim, Jets playing finals, Harvey Norman women's taking out the title, and our flag side getting deep into the finals as well. You can say what you like, but it's a very successful year for the club.
Yeah, here, lads. I think the girls rewatching that game, and they came back at the end. And so the whole season was really them coming back at the end, wasn't it? Jada Taylor was coming back into the team. There was the shuffle. That match goes for a couple more minutes. They might still win that match. So,
very good.
And
game.
I would say, Shauna, yes, they should have. Should the girls,
Yes,
Shauna in the comments, should the girls have attempted the field goal off of the scrum play on the final play? Yes, they should have. The girls aren't as quick at rushing out of the line either. So you noticed that when the Roosters girl got the drop goal, was relatively straight sailing towards the post. So, it's tough to know with these decisions. If they swing it out wide and they score a try and they win, then they win. So then you've got the damned if you do, damned if you don't.
It was this close. It was very close to being a try.
Yep.
Was close. All right, last one.
Then finally, we've spoken to it at length already, but head on down to Miranda Hotel on Grand Final Day. Catch a game on the Shire's biggest screen and the best sports bar in the Shire for an ET stand watch along. Frosty cold beer will be flowing. Boldo is hosting. There'll be plenty of giveaways. And why would you want to watch it anywhere else? All happening from 5 p.m. this Sunday, Miranda Hotel.
For those not watching live on YouTube, there's a AI picture of me in a suit looking like an absolute fired up buffhead.
Needs to add a bit of neck to that one.
You don't need to don't give me any freaking neck, please.
No, funny story. I was trying to get ChatGPT to put you in a Dragons jersey, and it did. And because I did it after the Daly Cherry Evans one, it kept putting you with the long neck like Cherry Evans. I'll send it through. Maybe I'll put it up in Discord for everyone to check out.
Yeah, throw it up in Discord. That's a good idea.
We're stretching this joke a bit too far.
It just keeps going, doesn't it? All right. Well, look, the hot news item. I must have been texted by at least 20 Manly fans today. So we're going to do a bit of analysis on Cherry Evans just for a bit of fun. I don't know if it's possible or not, but it's not nothing. So therefore, it's got to be something. Cherry Evans having lunch with Fitzgibbon. Maybe it's a coaching role. Who knows? This analysis segment is brought to you by Morgans at Cronulla for all of your stockbroking needs. If you're like DCE and about to come into a whole bunch of money, need some investing help, Chris and Charles can give you some stockbroking help. All right, Daly Cherry Evans, 36 years old and 200 and something days, 352 appearances for Manly, 26 State of Origin, 21 Test matches. He is a Clive Churchill Medal winner. Rookie of the Year. He was some player in his day, but maybe not now. Chris, how's his recent form been for Manly? What's your take on DCE's 2025? Drop from the Origin.
Manly, no. Origin career, massive. They like to blame him. That was the reason Manly had such a poor season, but I thought he was not too bad most of the year. I just like the fact that it's reared up and could send the NRL media into an absolute frenzy, saying he was $1 to join the Roosters, and all of a sudden we've come in at the last minute. I don't know where we'd have to shuffle the decks to get him into this team, because as we've discussed at nauseum about our salary cap and players re-signing, I don't see Nico moving to a one spot to accommodate DCE, whether he moves into a lock feature and we sort of go a 3 halves combo. But yeah, I'd take him for a season. I think our squad's primed to have someone like that come in, but whether it's possible or not, we'll just have to see. One can dream.
I can see Franko shaking his head here. So, Franko, what does it mean for the Sharks if we sign DCE, the current crop of players, and who plays where?
Look, I'll first of all go, no, I don't think we can sign him. Obviously, Chris alluded to it. There's a lot of shuffling. There's a lot of shuffling that needs to happen before we can sign him. If we're struggling to sign Will Kennedy at the back, signing DCE is going to be very difficult. I don't know. I can't see how you would fit him in. Nico's not a fullback. He's lost his speed. He's too old. I don't think that would work. I also think adding DCE himself would not improve our team vastly. He himself has lost his zip. Good organizer, but I don't know if that's really what we're missing. Are we throwing in the towel as far as development of our existing halves for the sake of a 1-year contract? I'm not too sure that's going to work for us. I also think, maybe if you're saying Nico goes to lock, which is where some people sort of said maybe he'd have a good role for the club in the future. Calhoun was developing there, not too bad. So it means shuffling Calhoun somewhere to the bench, I imagine. And then does that mean Tricky and DCE in the halves? That's a pretty slow halves pairing. Both are organising halves, not really a ball runner between them. So I don't think it's a good combo that works for us. I'm also not sure of the idea of having him on the books for 1 year and then into a coaching role, because the coaching role is vacant now, right? So if it is to come to the club, I imagine it's to come to the club in a coaching capacity straight away. That said, I'm not too sure that's a good idea either. I'd like to have seen him get some runs on the board somewhere before jumping straight into a coaching role. I understand that some players are quite good at being able to coach and being able to impart knowledge. But generally you would have some kind of interaction and some kind of in-house knowledge as to if they'd be good at that or not. We don't really have any connection to DCE. He hasn't been at the club. There's no one at the club who has had any interaction with him. So I don't know how we think he would go as a good coach, as assistant coach. I think that would be silly. Manly want to get rid of him, or Manly fans want to get rid of him. Roosters fans don't want him. I'm not sure where this eagerness to sign him up is. He's created a whole bunch of disharmony at the Eagles, and if there's one thing we can say about our club, it's that all the gang gets together really well. They're all there, got each other's backs. And do we want to bring in this show pony to try and ruffle some feathers and create a bit of disharmony there? I don't know. I'm not so sold on this.
I know we'll go into into the Melbourne part next, but would you not say that his general kick play and kicking game and around those sort of things would be a massive boost to our team? Like
game management.
Those Nico 30-meter kicks just ain't getting it done in a prelim. Like they're not.
Yep. But that again talks to what happens to Nico, right? So you're moving Nico out of the halves. Well, we've seen that Trindle's got a good kicking game. If we're moving Nico out of the halves, then Trindle moves to 7. He gets full license of kicking in the team, and he's a good game manager. He can kick long bombs. He can kick torps. He can 40-20s. I think it's difficult to say that we don't have a good kicking game because we haven't got the structure around giving our best kicker the opportunity to run that ship. We're sort of talking about, that he and Nico have a good bond or are forming a good bond and that they understand who takes what and when. But realistically, you got to think that Trindle's on the wrong side of the field for his kicking boot. He should be on the other side of the field to give him more space to play with. be first receiver so that he can, we don't really do first and second receivers at the Sharks, I suppose, but at least be on the right side of the field to take advantage of his boot. And then we see how good we are at kicking to the corners and kicking teams dead. So, I think bringing in someone like DC is a bit of a knee-jerk reaction, and I'm not sure we can't get that same result with just shuffling our team around.
He's amazing.
That's your vibes, guy. I'll go, Chris.
He's amazing at field goals.
He's amazing at field goals.
Who's got the most field goals this season of the NRL?
I don't know. Who does?
Trindle.
I knew the answer was Trindle. I just thought I'd let you have your moment and throw the rhetorical out there.
Mm-hmm.
All right, lads, you're a vibes guy.
Well,
that's your vibes.
Apparently, I'm a vibes guy.
Vibes guy. Right.
Yes.
Vibes. Are the Sharks going to be able to vibes with DCE if he was to come in? Is he going to fit in?
I think he would. The way I can see it working, like he's an amazing football brain. He's a proven winner. He's a great game manager. He's someone you're going to want around your team. He's going to bring the younger guys up. I think he would be a good assistant coach. And I got a feeling it's going to be at the expense of Nico to lock, which I can see it happening with McInnes with the ACL, and I can see him going to the Bears. Or even, as Franko mentioned, possible straight assistant coaching role. Maybe he's just ready to retire now, given, being dropped from Origin this year and whatnot. But I think he'd vibe into the team nicely, and I think the team would benefit a lot from having him around.
Would they?
I think they would.
Boldo, do you think it was just two blokes having lunch and everyone just jumped onto it?
Yeah, but it would be. So let's just play out the Franko theory here, right? So Franko presented a thing. I was like, well, what if the Sharks moved Nico Hines on? That would be incredibly difficult for them to do that. So if Daly Cherry Evans had made an agreement to sign with the Sharks at the end of the season, then keeping that quiet for the entire season so that Nico and the current 2025 tilt was not impacted by DCE signs for the Sharks, that would be one of the great best kept secrets of the rugby league. That is the only reason to do that. So that makes a bit of sense. But then why would you just outwardly, like, I didn't even know Fitzgibbon and Jerry Evans were mates or even remotely friendly.
I think you might be onto something, CK. I think you might be onto something, and I think this could be to take our name out of the media and the fact that we didn't progress from a prelim, because they're not speaking about that anymore. The elephant in the room with our finals record, and maybe this is a masterstroke to shift focus off how we finished this season.
I'll even throw it in there that Fitzgibbon was being a former Roosters assistant coach. Cherry Evans might be picking his brain about that role and what it entails, what the club's like, how it was as that role. It could be even just that.
It could be that. He could have said, I want to be a coach. How do I become a coach? What are you looking for?
But he might be at the Roosters next season, moving from half to assistant coach in the Roosters, and ask Fitzgibbon what it was like doing that role at the same club.
Or he could be about to sign a $1 million contract with the Sharks. Announced tomorrow. I'm waiting on my text message, Dino. I'm ready. I'm waiting for my text message for you to tell me that the Sharks have signed DCE. Chris, what does it mean for Nico? If we did, yep.
Maybe his managers wanted to get him a nice free seafood lunch.
Maybe they just, maybe you just wanted. Well, it's a great place down there at sea level. Why wouldn't you go down there? Great times. Chris, what if we did sign DCE? What does it mean for Nico?
Oh, it'd crush the kid. I reckon it'd be soul crushing. It's like Franko said, do we really need to do it? I just want to play a bit of devil's advocate about the whole matter. But I just think if you're signing a veteran, it's kind of like now where they've been talking all season about DCE going the Roosters, and you look at the Roosters, their halves fine. They got 3 young guys and 4 coming through. They let go of 1, unfortunately, but I think it's just one of those weird plug and play situations where I'd understand if Nico was like McInnes and done his ACL, that I'd be all for it, because he's probably going to miss most of the season. But I just think, I reckon it'd ruin the vibe of Nico. He is the face of the league. He's the face of the Sharks. He's the poster boy. He needs to wet his hair. It'd kill a lot of people. So it'd be like the Preston Kamali saga all over again.
Well, for those that don't remember, the Cronulla Sharks in 2001 had Preston Campbell as the Daly M winner. Daly, however you say that damn stupid prize. Daly M winner. Him and Adam. Preston started the year at fullback in the place of Peachy that was injured and then was moved around the team. And eventually they just worked out that Preston Campbell could be a halfback in what was an absolute star-studded Sharks team in that 2001. I think they won 11 matches in a row. And Preston Campbell stormed into the Australian team calculations, and we were a terrific team in that final series. And then they sacked John Lang in the middle of the season when they had an off season. He brought in Kamali, and the flat attack style didn't work with the diving at the legs anymore. And Kamali came into the Sharks, and he was not popular. I don't think Kamali ever really settled at the Sharks because of that problem with Preston Campbell. Now, we're obviously not going to get anywhere near as many years out of Cherry Evans. But Cherry Evans, if Nico was forced out, Franko, he's likely to get a similar reaction, isn't he?
No, I don't think so, to be honest. I think he would very much divide the fan base. I think there is a group that think Nico walks on water and is absolutely the best thing for the club. And I think there's a group of fans that don't think we can win a comp with him. The truth is obviously somewhere in the middle and yet to be determined. But as it stands, I don't think Nico is as loved holistically the way Preston was. Preston was just that lightning in a bottle moment where him and Peach together basically were the Sharks, and they were performing on the field. They were entertaining. They were exciting every time they laced up a boot. And it was at a time when the Sharks really were the Shire. Like around that time, everyone in the Shire was into the Sharks. That kind of connection to the Shire isn't as strong these days, unfortunately. And I think that it would just be one of those it's business decisions. And yeah, like I said, there'd be probably half the crew would be upset in terms of fans, but I reckon there'd be a half of the crew that would be maybe happy to see DC or heck, anyone have a go instead of Nico. I'm pretty sure there's a few that have stamped his papers and already want to see the back of him, let alone till 2029.
It's a big swing, lads. If they were to go out and sign Cherry Evans, we'll look to wrap this up shortly. It's almost like akin to an NFL team signing a $60 million quarterback and just throwing everything at them. I just don't know if that's necessarily us. It could just absolutely backfire for the Sharkies, couldn't it? Give us the final word, and then we'll go through some of the comments, mate, and what other people's opinions.
It could. Like we saw what bringing Galvin into the Dogs mid-season did for the Bulldogs and broke team harmony there. It could go that way. That's why I wouldn't mind seeing it as an assistant coaching role. I think he could work really well with Nico and get Nico's game up to scratch. Yeah, mate, look, the fans like it from what I've seen on the socials. The fans, they like entertaining the idea at least, and it's created a bit of a buzz. But I don't think you've changed my mind just in this segment. I don't think he can come and play. I think it has to be in an assistant coaching role.
I just got a text from Dino. I asked him the wrong question. Are we announcing the signing of Fitzgibbon on this show or what? And I meant to say DCE. And so he said, no, mate, Fitzy's signed on contract until 27, you bullhead. So thanks, Dino, for answering the wrong question I didn't mean to ask.
We had our one question that we could have asked him, and you blew it.
Oh, I think he's just taking the piss. Oh, God, that's what happens when you try and prep the shows quickly. What the hell would I know? All right, let's go through some of these comments. We'll go back to some. Would you loan Jonah Pezzett from the Storm? No, I don't think so. He's not going to be a trade-up for us.
I would. If we were talking about having a rookie in the team, we would use our own rookies. I think we've got enough talent with Pollard and even Jackson Ford. Taj Ford, sorry. I'd rather give them a go. You imagine that they would only be getting a couple of games through the season. Pezzett would only get a couple of games. So no, I wouldn't loan Pezzett at all.
Here we go. Dino, not sure where that rumour started or by whom. So I think we're killing that one. But they did have
That's
lunch.
what you'd say, wouldn't it?
The Fitzy one?
Look, he's been asked numerous times over many months and kept denying the answer. And so
here we go. All right, anyway,
Dino's not the one that's going to break it.
Wouldn't it be amazing if he sent through, hey, Boldo, confirming DCE signed, you can announce it on the ETSD podcast right now.
I've written up the contract right now.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's keep going through some of these. Scotty McLaren says, knowing how lucky...
but just listening to CK, we think we're going to sign him now.
You've turned us.
All right, here we go. Official answer from Dino Mezzatesta. Answer is no, we are not talking to DCE. There you go.
Yeah.
Sharks fans, you can't say I don't connect you with something. That's like pretty good.
There you go. Exclusive.
All right, there we go. DC. All right, well, that being said, the DCE segment is over. Let's go. We'll move on. Let's just cover off some of these other comments. Reviewnification 1963 says only one position in the Spide needs to change, and that is fullback, in my opinion. Reviewnification, we will talk to that in an upcoming segment. Scotty McLaren says we should bring back the captain coach position to save on money. That's the sort of thing that the Sharks would do. Shauno was asking me if that is a gold. Hey?
Captain assistant coach.
Captain and assistant coach. Well, Shauno's asking me if that's a Gold Coast Chargers jersey. It is not a Chargers jersey, but I've talked about that jersey before. So if anyone in the comments wants to pick what jersey that is, you can do that. Shauno asks, can Kennedy play in the centres? If so, could we offload Ramey and McInnes and Hamlin Uelity to chase Jaden Campbell? Uelity plays like a superstar when off contract, but a bum when contracted.
I'd rather Hiroti in the centres over Will.
Yeah.
Will
did play some games in the centres for the NYC, but yeah, he's not really a centre. Like Lat said, I think we've got better options there.
Young Michael Gabriel coming through.
Still got stuff.
Matt Axiak says, at least he can't be caught by the media coming out of the Leagues Club this time like he was back in 2015. That's probably true. A couple of other comments about the match and all that. Can I just say the comments are just on absolute fire tonight? This is just
cracking.
All right. Okay, let's chat the Melbourne match as we put the DCE rumours to bed. It's pretty funny, though, nonetheless. It wouldn't even surprise me if DCE didn't even have lunch with Fitzgibbon, actually. That would be the best.
Fitzgibbon let's chat some lunch with a giraffe.
Yeah, I was going to say some other giraffe. Exactly what I was going to say.
Happy Healthy Harold or someone down at sea level there.
That's right. All right, let's chat the Melbourne match. So the match discussion and review is brought to you by Self Accounting for all of your bookkeeping and tax needs. Chris, the match, what was your reaction to the Sharks?
I was going to say, can we skip this? Can we just skip this segment? It was fine. Nah. Look,
we can get through it quickly.
It was. I thought we were up to our eyeballs. It's always going to be tough down there in Melbourne. Melbourne do what Melbourne like to do, where they like to slow down the ruck and find ways to get around that. In saying that, it was just one of those games where, for some reason, Jerome Hughes found an extra arm and just got through our line of defence and put on a palm with that giant cast and got to the try line. The Pappenhausen chip over the top, I'm sure Boldo will go into nauseum over Will Kennedy's positioning in that. But I thought we were right in it. It was just one of those games, again, where we go down to Melbourne and we just look a couple of tiers below those guys. I don't know what it is. I don't know what happens down there. I'm hoping at one point Bellamy retires and they're pretty much the Tigers, because I'm sick of seeing a Storm game down there and just go all their way. I'm sick of the cowbell. I'm sick of that joint down there.
Oh, the cowbell's so annoying.
All the AFL stuck on fans that go to the game because nothing else is on till the grand final the next day, and probably Brisbane Lions fans going to the game as well. Yeah, look, it's just one of those things where I thought it was going to happen. I thought we spoke on it. The head clash was quite unfortunate. It killed a bit of momentum. I thought our defensive line on our try line was very, very strong, and we did a lot of things right. So I think we did things that were good. It was just those little moments that the Storm do, like the Harry Grant breakaway where it's last tackle and everyone backed off and he had a free run at the try line and it just opened up from there. So Very, very hard to take because you get so far in a season, you get a bit of hope, a bit of belief. You know, Franko spoke about the Shire, but it sort of saw a new generation of kids getting excited in schools and flags and all that stuff. And you think just one more step, I'd love to be in the GF again and see what it's like. And it just wasn't to be. So it's very hard to get over the pain again, as we all know, go into a prelim, what that feels like. But it just doesn't get easier because this is the team starts to show what they've got. It just falls flat. So, disappointing we bowed out. Bit disappointed the season, but proud of what they did in the last 10 weeks.
Lads, there are a couple of key moments I thought, and Matt Axiak pulls it up in the comments. Nico's drop ball killed the momentum. We were down by 6 at that point in time, and we were coming to get them. And Matt also said he's fancy our chances against the Broncos, who I think played their grand final on Sunday. Let's chat to the first part. That Nico's drop ball was on the 4th tackle. We were down by 6. And the Storm pretty much after that pretty quickly get a penalty and go up the 8 points again, which the psychology of a team being down by 8 is difficult. There's big moments. The Jesse Ramian drop ball as well was bad.
Yep. Where do you stand, Boldo? Sorry, I haven't caught the debrief yet because I've just been too gutted to listen to it. On them taking the 2 when we were 8 down.
You take the 2 when you're down by 8. Yeah, that's the right move. The wrong move is throwing the ball to Nico and having him drop the damn ball. They were down by 6.
That was the first time we were down that end of the field for a while in an attacking position. We were looking good. We had them rolling, and I think that killed our momentum.
What, taking the 2?
I even said take the 2, but in hindsight, which is a beautiful thing, I don't think it was the right decision.
To give you my opinion on that one, Lats, we won't know if it was the right or wrong because we obviously lost the match, and if we'd have won, you would have said that was the right call. As it stands, we might have dropped the ball and never scored, and we'd be 8 points down for the rest of the match. But in my opinion, we had just brought Nikora and AFB on. They were fresh, they were humming, they were getting over the ad line, and then we took the 2 and got sent all the way back down to our end of the field, and then we're just doing hard slogs for the next 5 minutes, and they lost that pep, and we never really got back into it.
They did get back to being 10 metres out on the 4th tackle with Nico dropping the ball, Franco. So they did get themselves back to the same position. Just don't drop the ball.
Which shows we were rolling them too. So
anyway.
Look,
you're down by 8. The difference on the psychology. The difference on the psychology. If you're down by 8, you're done. So when Harry Grant set up that try and old mate scored in the corner, then we were already done at 8 down with 5 minutes to go. So scoring twice is so hard. And I can see your point, and it's the most valid, strongest point you've put forward for why not to take the 2 at the down by 8. But if Alan Langer, when he is down by 8, takes the 2 against the Sharks in the 1996 semi-final series, when he had the attacking team and they had the ascendancy, I just can't see it's not the right call. It is. It's just the numbers.
If it's the right call, why isn't it done every time you're down by 8?
Because it is pretty much done by every team when they're down by 8. Yeah, most of the teams do it when they're down by 8.
No.
Because you know why it's not done, Franco? Because the other teams don't have the benefit of me influencing their team on the ET Stand podcast. That's why.
I did want to say during that game, there was a lot more time up that too. I think there was 15 or 20 minutes still to go. We gave a penalty away straight away down the other end, and they went up by.
Yeah, because Trindle stripped the ball
and then
he
they scored another try. Yeah, but so just nullify any point taken that too.
No, just don't strip the ball and back your team.
Because if we scored a try,
all right, hold on. Okay, so if being ahead by 8 points isn't that important, why did the Storm kick the 2 points to then go ahead by 8? Because they knew that being ahead by 8 is so much better than 6. Even though they were on the roll when they had the ball 10 metres out.
So you're saying you'd rather be down by 6 than down by 2, in reverse of your argument, is what you're saying. You'd rather be down by 6 than by 2.
No, no.
And the Storm kicked it to go ahead by 8 because they weren't already behind by 6.
No, but they know how important it is to go ahead by 2 scores. That's why they did it.
So
anyway,
we were doing it to go behind by 6.
We score.
Yes.
If we score, right, and we're down by 2.
2 or 4.
Next time we're down there in the field, we get a penalty. We're taking the 2 to square up instead of kicking to the sideline and have Nico Hines dropping the ball.
Yeah, but there's no guarantee that we get the 2.
No, there's no guarantee. And you know what? There was no guarantee of winning by taking
no guarantee that we get
did.
that penalty because we didn't get the penalty.
And Nico Hines try and convert it, and we go and the Storm come down and get a penalty. They're not taking the 2 to go up by 4. They're taking the tap. They're taking the tap. They're not going to go.
You can all argue all you want. You're more passionate about it than I am right now, and it's 3-on-1. But I'll just say that I'm still right and you're wrong, and let's move on. All right, other moments. I still think that.
Oh, can I? Okay.
I still think the drop balls and the stuff is just an absolute nightmare. The Ramian one, the Trindle rake, there was just a bit of ill discipline and mistakes. So you can look, the 2 points is neither here nor there. You just can't go dropping the ball in your absolute key moments, can you?
Chris? What do you make of the Fanua Blake one with the strip on Fanua Blake? I thought that was harsh not to be called a strip.
Well, that's
he
harsh
bent his arm
because
up behind his back and took it out of his grip. Like, just because there was no stripping motion doesn't mean it's not a strip.
Well, that's a new trick that some of the better teams have worked out, that they can put their hand around the ball, and then in the motion of the players moving to the try, they can get the rake out. So that's one. The next one that I think is big, back to the whether they should have taken the 2 or not, it should have been irrelevant. That was a penalty try. Britton Nickera is scoring, right? And he gets head high on the way through to scoring and then doesn't score, right? And like he gets over the line. So if you get smacked in the head and you are a little bit disorientated in trying to put the ball down, that is going to impact your ability to score a try. So I actually thought that was particularly tough on the Sharks, that one. Franko, we didn't touch on that as much. Do you agree with that?
100% agree. I was going to bring that up, but it was more the fact I was going to say Franko brought it up in the Canberra game with Hudson Young. The players just know now not to do that raking action. They can just bail out of the tackle when the ball comes out, and they're not looking for that stripping action or intent. Yeah. They're making a tackle. In saying that, I thought we made some worse mistakes against Canberra with the Ramian drop when we had the momentum and it didn't kill us, and also a Trindle wayward ball to nobody. So we can recover from those. We know we can, but just against the Storm, like you said, you can't have those moments down there. But 100% agree. I think it should have been a penalty try, or at least just given a try, because like you said, you can't cause foul play to someone around the head. A scoring situation where he was, even everyone I've spoken to, commentary I've seen after it is like, you don't stop that. How good was Munster? I'm like, hang on, it was foul play. That's a penalty try. That's what the rules there for. Otherwise, the Melbourne Storm would do 99 against Jamie Ainscough. Well, he hit him in the head and he collapsed in an absolute heap, and they gave a penalty.
Actually, it is Jamie Ainscough, isn't it? It's hit him in the head.
So
Jamie Ainscough is in the like, yeah, go.
I don't particularly agree, because Munster was there wrapping the ball up, and he was ultimately the one that stopped Nickera from getting the ball on the ground. That said, I don't think Nickera did himself any justice by getting to the ground and fighting and trying to get that ball down. If he'd have played it weak and dumb, went limp and dropped the ball, then I'm sure that would have been a penalty try. But by the fact that he showed no effect from the hit, the fact that he continued to fight to get the ball down, and the fact that Munster was there, the one fighting him off, because basically in the contact, Pappenhausen went past Nickera as well, right? So it really was most of the job was done by Munster, and by that being the case, you can't say he would have scored had that hit not been there, right? So
that's right. 10. What's wrong with 10?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that for sure. In the act of scoring a try,
SJD says it should have been a sin bin.
Yep, there you go.
Exactly what the I know they relaxed on 10 of the bin because 2 seasons ago there was 5 players per game getting sin bin for high shots. But that's exactly what it's for. He's in the act of scoring. There's intent. He's not doing anything else. There's intent to stop him from scoring a try and going high. It's just see you later 10 minutes. I could have lived with that, but we just got a straight up penalty. Like, he might as well just strip the ball. Like, it was just, I don't agree with that's the punishment you get out of the crime.
Yeah, and just
All right,
to play
lads,
the ball,
close us out
terrible.
on the Storm match.
Yeah,
Final
look,
word.
mate,
Sits with
frustrating. One thing we hadn't mentioned, which I just wanted to mention, was Kennedy's positional play. I thought that Fitzy would have got word down to them after, like they chipped behind in the 5th minute. Trindle was luckily just there to clean it up, and then we see them score a try off it later on in the match. Thought that was pretty poor not to get the word to Will to be careful of that. That was just heartbreaking that to watch though, wasn't it?
That was a hard one. That
just frustrating.
Watching that try with the chip over the top. I don't like the fullbacks defending in the line, and I know that the Storm guys were running in behind the ruck a lot, and that was one of the savers to try and solve that. But we got caught out on it, and ultimately the Sharks were coming back at the end. You know, we score the try at the end. Nico takes the kick. We're down by 6. The match goes for another 10 minutes. We were coming back, and essentially the difference is, in many ways, that try was a turning point, as my learned friend Chris would say. So, all right, look, Sharks go down. We could talk about this one ad nauseum. Franko, you got anything left to add to this one, or are we done?
I was just going to add to Latz's comment there about seeing them trying to take advantage of it earlier in the game. That they would have run the word out to Will to get back. The Roosters did it against us in the week 1 of the finals, right? So it's not like, hey, bloody Walker scored against us by rubbering through with Kennedy in the line. So let's learn from that. It was clearly part of our defensive structure that Will's got to be in the line. So they've done their numbers. They understand that it's a risk. I'm sure they've tried to get something to nullify that risk, but Melbourne are just too good and took advantage of it.
I think that's right. All right, let's try and answer some of these comments on this Melbourne Storm match. Mike Knight in the comments says, did Melbourne choke us, or did we just not turn up like the previous few games? Melbourne a better team. So, one, they choked us. Stefano, their key forward, was better than ours for Noah Blake, which we didn't really anticipate. And I think they're elite level forwards. They're not left forwards. They're just elite level players generally, are better than ours. And they also reacted to the way the referee reffed the match better than we did. And then a few other factors on top of that. Overall, the Sharks are pretty good. Frank Kuhlman says we needed extra input from Kennedy in that game like Pat does. And we'll talk more about Kennedy in a minute. Shauno says, I reckon the fatigue factor from non-stop finals like footy from the last round against the Bulldogs and the critical errors compounded in the scoreboard pressure is what caused the loss.
Yep.
Can't help. I think the week up.
We got through the hard way to the prelim, and I think if we go one better and finish in 4th, I think we win the comp this year.
That loss against the Broncos or the Dragons? We knew it at the time. We were angry at the time.
Tigers. Yep.
Canberra. West Tigers.
Shauno in the comments. We need a player who can win us a game by themselves like a Munster, Cleary or Walsh. It's something the elite clubs have that we don't. Yeah, I think if you were to rank all of the NRL players, top 100 players, I think we'd have 2 in the top 20, maybe 3 with Riley, AFB and Nico, but not many in the top 10. And then Frank confirms, yep, Origin players are needed in big games. We have none.
We've got an Origin centre in Nico. I don't know what you're talking about there.
Stuart Campbell says, thoughts on the high shot to save a try, penalty, try or penalty? Does it change if he drops the ball because of a high shot? There we go. We covered that one for you, Stewie. Matt asks us, there is never anyone in support when Brayley runs the ball. We've touched on that, haven't we, Franko?
Yeah, in the debrief we did, for sure.
Why does that happen? Just because they're not expecting it or they're just hopeless?
They're gassed.
Yeah, I mean, as we said, one of our listeners and commenters mentioned that it's because we're not used to him running because he's, it's not been part of his game for the last few years. It's only, recently that he's been bringing that more and more. And so we're not prepared. We haven't been trained to follow up. Part of the other scenario is that I guess our fullback, if you are going to give him a knock, he's not a fullback that trails up the middle. He's sort of out the back on the side doing sweeping plays and whatnot. Whereas other fullbacks are always in the middle sniffing around for the ball, and that's not the gameplay that our fullback has, which then I guess could lead back to the way we're coached, right? Our props and our back rowers are used to conserve energy. So they get their good, strong runs up. They're not there doing the follow-up plays. You probably argue that Nico or Trindle should be doing it a little bit more, but maybe they don't have the speed to catch up to Brayley, because by the time he scoots, they're half a yard behind him.
Scotty
I was
McLaren
just
asked,
having sorry,
Yep.
Boldo, I just had a thought on that, Franco. Remember back in the day where Cam Smith would sort of half pull out a dummy half and walk up and sort of have a forward push up right next to him? That's long gone out of the game. And you think with 6 agains, that people would bring that back in, because you can actually catch the team offside a lot faster. I think that would be the key to Brayley having those offloads, because you're right next to him and you're in his pocket. But it seems like a lot of teams just play a lot deeper these days, where if the dummy half takes off, he's gone. There's no one else ever there.
I thought this one too, Scotty McLaren, in the comments. Same with Katoa's second try. If he stayed on the ground for another second, Harry Grant comes sliding in knees first. Yeah, I think if Katoa scores the try, but then goes down all injured and hurt, that might have been a penalty try for the knees sliding in, because he absolutely belts him with the knees. Then Matt says, and the attempted tackles on Hughes. Yeah, I think those bad misses on Hughes were bad. And I'm going to hold it against the players that missed those in the tiers later, I can tell you.
Or running at Hughes. No one was running at Hughes.
Why didn't they run at Hughes?
Target.
Matt in the comments says, top 4 is everything. If this Penrith side couldn't win it from outside, then I don't know if anyone ever will. Yeah, that's probably true, especially given Penrith had that long time off too between to the Sunday in Brisbane. Stuart Campbell, do you think we need an X factor like 2016? In 2022, Nico was much quicker and probably was that spark. That's probably true. We just don't have an X factor player. Shauna, sorry, Boldo, it's the Crushers, my mistake. There you go, it is the Crushers. Southeast Queensland Crushers. And then my top says, this week, the week off is always an advantage. Storm looked fresh in that match, but every year we're getting closer. We were in that match, need top 4 finish next season. That we do, my top. That we do. All right, Sharks fans. Well, it's now time for the most overhyped segment in all of the ET stand. It is a segment so confusing that even I don't understand it sometimes. It is not the salary cap. It is not the player ratings. It is the tiers based on a rich tapestry of consideration. These tiers and positions are put together by a committee of Sharks fans whose last name is Bolderman. It's an honour and a privilege to bring you this segment each week. I know not that one. That's the me in the purple tie. There's me in the purple tie again, just in case. Apparently that's a storm tie. I went through a purple phase, okay? Don't know why, I just did. All right, it's now time for Boldo's player tiers. All right, let's go through it. This is the end of the season. I'll turn off the I'll turn off that on the bottom too. Where is that little ticker thing? Oh, it's a banner. Turning off the banner. There we go. I think you guys have seen that for long enough. And I'll just make Chris a little bit bigger. You excited for the tiers, lads?
Mate, pumped. We're pumped.
All right, let's get through it. The end of season tiers with a skew towards the final series, with the final series being very important. All right, Sharks top players right now, according to Boldo. Cade and Liam make their love. Well, one of them, Cade Dykes, making his last appearance on the tiers. And for them, well, that was a season to forget. Both injured, both didn't get as much time as they would have liked. And in other situations and scenarios, they might have seen some game time. So good luck, Cade Dykes, at the Bulldogs. We hope you go on to greater things. And Liam Ison, we might be seeing you in first grade next season. Hope the injury recovery is going well. Next, Ramian. He is way down on the tiers. And I'm just going to say, Ramian, the pitchforks for you are out, unfortunately. You are way down the tiers, and for the money and the bucks that we're paying you and the reputation that you've got, we are not getting what we want. Just some bad moments and just not standing up in that match. Maybe it's a tad harsh. Let's see what the boys react in a second. Am I right to have Ramian that low on the tiers? Next, Stone Street, Atkinson, and Tukes. They did what they could. So they didn't get much game time. They didn't get much of a chance, but when they were called upon at appropriate times and moments, I thought they were pretty good. Stone Street had jagged a couple of tries. Atkinson, when he actually played his proper position, was quite good other than the 8 minutes. And Tukes, he was always the 18th man that we thought we could bring in. I think when he played for us, he did what he could and contributed. So great contribution, guys, and hopefully you can go on to bigger and better things next season. Next, Gattuso and BHU. I'm calling these guys, I guess, because I guess they're on there and, you know, they're in and out of the teams, just struggling to jag that last 17th spot. They were okay in the finals, I guess, but they hardly set the world on fire. So I'm giving them the rank of, I guess, because I guess. Next, Jesse, Colhoun, Teague, Wilton, Will Kennedy, and Braden Trindle. I'm holding it against you, fellas. So some missed tackles and some bad moments in that finals match against the Storm just has me just not loving you guys this week. And so some of you have had some better moments. Jesse and Teague, you missed that first key tackle. Kennedy up in the line. And Trindle thought he went a little bit missing. And also that rake out to give that penalty away that gave them the 8-point lead back was a pretty telling moment and more significant than we perhaps might think. Trindle, however, I almost put on the next row because the next row of Cam, Tom, and Britton Nickera, I call we missed you. We missed you in different ways. I think Cam McInnes actually, in hindsight, would have been actually pretty useful in this final series and just a bit of experience and just a little bit of level-headedness and less likely to get injured. I think he would have been good. Tom Hazelton had a really good couple of minutes against Canberra and gave us a whole bunch of steel that we didn't get. And I'm saying that we missed you, Nickera, because we didn't get peak Britton Nickera because you had the injury and a few matches off. And I actually think in hindsight it was a mistake not bringing him back earlier and putting him in the team because we needed him. And he's just a bit better than Teague. And if you thought Billy Burns was strong enough to make the first grade team, then maybe we should have dumped Teague. But that's a whole nother question. On to the next. Billy Burns, Harodi, and Toby. These guys, well, they've won admirers. So you might say, how's Harodi moved up so far? So following the debrief, we got people calling for Harodi to replace Ramian and play in the centres. And this guy was previously struggling to not get first grade matches. Billy Burns has unseated Britton Nickera, and Toby Rudolph has played some absolutely brilliant matches recently. He got the HIA in that match against the Storm and wasn't as good and had the impact as much as he would have liked. But boy, he's been in terrific form, Toby Rudolph. So 3 of these guys got new admirers. Next, Ronaldo Mulatalo, Nico Hines, and AFB. What are these guys called? Well, they need to win the big games, not just playing them, fellas. Sorry, you got us there. But none of the 3 of you really stood up, and you are our 3 key guys. And I just think back to the X factor that we called out in the comments, we just didn't get any of the X factor, and you'd have to say that all 3 of these guys were outplayed by their opposites in that match. And so if you want to sit at the top of the tiers, you've got to dominate. You've got to not just play in the big games, you've got to win them. Next, Kaoliro and Ronnie. Meters, but no moments. So good performances, jagged us a whole bunch of meters in that final match, but they didn't really have the big moment. Kaoliro did have that bad defensive read, and they almost dumped him down the line. And we also didn't see the big moments from Ronaldo Mulatalo either. So just not quite as high on the tiers, but they had good final series. Next, Sione Katoa. Big game tries. I'd forgotten how good that try was against the Panthers in 2024, and Katoa got us the 2 tries in this final series. Recency bias, you better believe it. Scoring games in big moments, in big tries, in big bloody anything is really important. So I'd gladly have a crap rest of the season and have big moments in those ones. And lastly, well, he's the final boss. And Siosifa Talakai ends the season as the top of Boldo's player tiers and rankings coming out of the final series. How many times did we see Siosifa Talakai come onto the field and literally turn the game for the Sharks and get us back in it? We scored tries after he came on in those first stints every single time, finding a way to get him bigger and better. Please don't let Siosifa Talakai leave. He sits atop of the tiers once again. The final boss. All right. What do you think of that one, Franco?
Not bad, not bad. Poor Brayley getting listed as Ronnie there, but
oh yeah, he did too. There we go. I like White Ronnie. For those of the benefit of audio, I stuffed up the names and forgot to update Craig Brayley, and he says Ronaldo Mulatalo. I even checked it as well. There were so many mistakes this week too as I rushed through this. All right, but other than that, what do you think is a bit tough on Blake Brayley, Franco?
Oh, look, when you sort of talk about needing to win the big games, that is true, but also true for all players. I think Brayley, certainly the expectations of him were raised over the back half of this season, and he certainly has now become a bit more of that face of the team. He's certainly now the captain. I don't think he's losing that captaincy even when Cam gets back. I certainly think that I think he didn't have the platform in that Storm game to take advantage and get us where we needed to be. We saw how he was against the Raiders and against the Roosters when our pack stood up, but our pack was out-muscled against the Storm or outplayed. So not entirely his fault. That same could almost be said for the halves, except they were just off their game that match. I'm like a bit harsh on Ramian all the way at the bottom there.
That was led by you.
But yeah, I wouldn't be moving him much higher. I think he maybe only gets up above the did what he could category. So he's still definitely staying down the bottom there. I think if Colquhoun had started at lock a bit earlier on in the season, I think you might have seen his name creep up higher in this list. He was pretty impressive.
He had a good final series and had some good moments. I really held it against him, that missed tackle on Hughes for that first one, Franko. That really got me down when I was assessing his performance. I don't think Cam McInnes misses that tackle, or maybe he does that weird jumping thing.
Superman.
I'm not sure. Obviously, you went through a gap there that was huge. Wilton completely wrong-footed. Jesse coming across in cover. Jesse's a big boy. I'm not sure if Cam's getting across there to even lay a hand on Hughes, but you're right. He did get a hand on Hughes, and he should have pulled him down instead of being pushed off the way he was. But no, look, mate, pretty good. I think that look, I love you giving Katoa a little bit of recognition up the top there. He sort of gets a bit forgotten about out there catching a cold on Ramian's wing because Ramian needs.
He almost was top, Franko. He was close to putting him top.
He's underrated. I think we saw it 2 seasons ago when he went out injured. The whole team kind of fell apart without him there, and we know it's just a winger, and he doesn't have those same hard carries that Ronnie does. It's very frustrating when he crabs across and bumps off people and quote unquote breaks tackles, but he's still very, very good for the Sharks, and I think I'm glad that he's in our team. So yeah, well done, mate.
Lats, you've got a bit of taunting from Frank Koeman that says "Go the Bills."
Bills schmills.
Also, Frank Koeman saying "Love the tears," pretty much spot on. Lats, any players in particular beyond what Franco's mentioned you'd move up or down?
Yeah, mate. Look, firstly, it's good to see that the plug's back. Sorry, the tears.
Back. I knew you were going to mention that.
Look, I think you've been a bit harsh on BHU. I think BHU's had an enormous month for us. I think he's come on firing, really got us some go forward. And Teague, I think you've been a bit harsh on Teague, like Franko said. Teague was huge in that Canberra game, had some enormous runs. Yeah, he missed that Hughes tackle, but he's been so good. He had a nice little try in that Canberra game as well. Great to see Sione up there. Sione's been awesome. We really missed him to start the season. But yeah, no surprises. Ramian's down the bottom. But yeah, no, I think you've got it pretty much spot on. Talakai, the final boss, the cheat code. He's not going anywhere. It was news to him. It was news to the club, that reporting of him going anywhere. And I think apart from that, mate, you've got it pretty much bang on.
Chris, final reaction to the tiers. These guys always want to move everyone up. There's no just put everyone on the top of the tiers. Someone's got to be at the bottom, don't they?
There was a great comment there about a Michael Jackson. Did you see that one come through?
Really turned into Michael Jackson.
That's great, Scotty. I love that one.
My top says he was. Goodness me, it's like, it's so good. Not as many viewers, but all our legend mates that are just giving us a hard time. This is the best.
Isn't that we do it in the off season? I think. Look, I've been the biggest Ramian hater all season because he can't pass a Katoa, and somehow Katoa gets up the top there without getting more try assists from Ramian. I thought Ramian was pretty good against the Storm. I hate to say it. He set up that second Katoa try on the break down that side. And I like that you brought up the fact that I thought was a massive mistake but it was working, was the Nicola off the bench. I just think if he's in that Storm game for 80 minutes, maybe it looks a little bit different. We don't have those missed tackles, but that's a hindsight
Yeah, he should have
thing.
played. He should have played.
But then
it was a mistake. But
I'll throw it to you because Ramion's down the bottom and Talakai's up the top, so they get swapped out and put Talakai back in the centres.
Oh God!
Mentioned by the guy who absolutely hates the carousel of talking about Talakai in the centres. Well done, CK.
Although we should do a top 10 annoying consistent themes on this show. What's top of the tiers discussion points? Talakai at centre or taking the 2.
Yeah, his roll off the bench is unbelievable.
This is very true. All right, that was Boldo's tiers. Let us know what you think of the tiers in the comments. Did I get it right? Did we get it wrong? Certainly, we'll be keeping an eye on that as we head into the next season. We'll do a start of the season player tiers as well, without Daly Cherry Evans, as we just heard that from Dino Mezzatesta. All right, let's get on to the next. The off-contract players, Franko. We didn't really talk about this on our group chat on the Discord, so I'm hoping that you can just rattle off the players that are currently off contract. So we know that Kennedy is right now off contract, don't we? So he's done. So he can sign with anyone right now for next season. He can go to Super Rugby or whatever that rugby comp is. And then there's a bunch of players that are also off contract for next season. So I guess we'll start on Will Kennedy, and while Franko looks that up, because I can see that he's Googling and working it out.
I've got my notes, mate. That's
you got your notes? All right, good to go. All right, I was going to try and buy you some time.
All good, buddy. All good. So I guess, look, you want to start with Will Kennedy? Sure, let's go with Will Kennedy. He's certainly going to dominate the conversation. He's off contract. Technically, if we're going on holidays, you could say he's now done, finished. Doesn't have a job at the moment. Looking for someone to sign him. He could walk into any club tomorrow, basically, assuming we don't need him for any promotional activities or whatever like that for the next month. But you got to imagine that he's either sitting on an offer from us and we're just take it or don't, or he is in the process of looking around. I don't see too many other clubs that would be knocking on his door, so it could be a Super League option for him. He might just accept a 1-year deal from us, whatever coin we're offering, even if that's not what he wants. Maybe swallow his pride, take the 1 year, and then look for the Bears in a year's time. Maybe try and have a bang out year. We know Lats loves an off contract year. Just do another off contract year and put yourself in the shop window again. But he's currently unsigned, and we don't, as a club, have a lot of depth there. So I think this is we'll come back to the contract discussion, but this is probably going to be where we talk about our fullback stock and what we're going to do with the back there. We've lost Dykes to the Dogs. We've got Ison, who's been signed for 2 years. We've got Taj Ford, who's actually the same age as Ison, who carved it up in New South Wales Cup out of position at fullback while Dykes and Ison were nursing their ACLs, and he did a really good job. I can't find anything on his contract status, so I don't know where he is in terms of long term. Maybe he's on a development contract or just a lower tier contract, but there's nothing official anywhere about us signing him. Hopefully he's locked up because he's really good. Outside of that, Lats mentioned moving Hiroti there as an option. Hiroti has played about 7 odd games for New South Wales Cup this year and absolutely blitzed them when he was given the opportunity. So we know he can do it. It's just whether or not that's where we want him. He is also currently off contract, so could sign with anyone, anywhere, anytime. Though there was Hiroti, correct?
He just re-signed. They just gave him a contract.
No.
Rumours of it.
Rumors of it, exactly. There was an article came out that he had rejected the Dragons and said he doesn't want to sign with the Dragons. He wants to back himself for a longer contract at the Sharks and to be in the Sharks. And as such, we've all got to assume that he's talking with Fitzgibbon or Mooney to understand what that future is there. This late of the season, you doubt you're pulling out the "I'm going to back myself" quotes before you are understanding what that position is. So yeah, so there's not too many options there. We've talked about Ronnie. Don't think that's going to be great, even though he played some games there for under-18s Origin. I don't think we're going to want Iro there, even though he played there for Cook Islands. And we've all said no to Nico being moved out the back there. So the other options is moving out. I know there were some talks about Dane Laurie as a potential, but it looks as though he's signed with the Raiders. Chevy Stewart, the poker machine friend, he's potentially on the outer, especially with Laurie going to the Raiders. Maybe he's looking for an option somewhere. I'd probably take him. I think pouring drink over a poker machine is nowhere near as bad as punching on with someone while you're intoxicated. He was asked to move on and he left. Yeah, exactly. CK or drink driving. So look, it's not the worst misdemeanor. So I'd be happy to have him to the club just as an extra depth player to fight it out over the off season with Ison and Ford. Unfortunately, because of ACL with Ison, he's still on coming back from recovery, so he won't really be ready round one. It's going to be tough to throw a rookie in that early off the back of an ACL. It really scuppered our plans, I think. I think what everyone needs to think about in terms of Kennedy is, what are you looking for if you're talking about getting rid of him and re-signing? What are you looking for in signing a new fullback? What is your objective of signing that new fullback? Because if it's getting a gun fullback that's going to, someone mentioned earlier, someone who can change the game and be a game breaker like Pappenhausen was against us, we're not getting that for the money that we've got, right? We're not going to get that kind of player unless it's
unless we take a swing on the young player, Franko.
Correct, exactly.
So
it's also worth mentioning that Pappenhausen's try wasn't a solo game-breaking effort. That was a well-rehearsed, planned move against a team where they knew the fullback would be in the line, with Munster kicking it at the posts instead of to the corners where wingers could drop back or halves could drop back. It was certainly something that was known. Munster was Pappenhausen was already running for that before Munster kicked it. So can Kennedy do that? Probably not. He's not as fast as Pappenhausen, but hey, we didn't have that play in our kit bag. So, who's to say if he's at the Storm, he doesn't have an amazing career, right? It's one of those scenarios. I think I used a Formula One analogy on the debrief. I'll use another one here. If you get a rookie into Formula One and they're driving a busted old car that is not competitive, they're not going to look as good as a rookie in one of the better performing cars like Mercedes or whatever, right? So you put any fullback in the Sharks, they're probably going to do very similar to Kennedy, right? They're going to need to take hit-ups out of our end. They're going to want to do the sweeping plays. Maybe we can get someone who does trailing up the middle looking for an offload or something. But I wouldn't expect a fullback to utterly change the way we play. I don't think fullback is that. So you're not getting a game breaker. Are you going to get a rookie that you can hopefully develop? Well, maybe. We've got two rookies that are pretty promising that, given an opportunity, could develop into something special. I mentioned Chevy Stewart, who is another potential young gun, ex-Sharks junior, who could develop into something special. But that's a long-term prospect unless, they come out the gates firing, which is, low odds. Then the other option is a safe fullback who keeps the premiership window open while we've got a pretty good roster around him. And if that's what you want, well, then you've already got Kennedy, and I don't think you're doing much better than that.
Chris, yes or no? Kennedy, stay or go?
Well, I'd like to have a shot out of a cannon turn out of somewhere like one of those players Franko mentioned, but yeah, it's hard to see. I've seen a bit of Chevy Stewart play in the juniors and coming through, but not enough to say he's the bloke you take over the top. So We've seen the Storm do it with Hughes, Pappenhausen. God, the
Even
list goes
Nico.
on to their fullbacks. Nico was there for a bit. Like, we've seen the Storm system work with a guy, like you just said. I think Will Kennedy could do that set play, and I thought he had a good turn of pace to spin around and get within this much of the ball to get there. So props to him to doing it, but he was just up in the wrong position. Gun to my head, I'd keep Kennedy.
Lads?
I'd let Kennedy go. I'd like to see a Dane. I'd love to have a Dane Laurie at the club. Even a Jai Gray, Chevy Stewart, probably next in line. But I just think, I don't know. He's positionally unaware in defence at times, and I just think we need someone a bit more rock solid there to support the spine.
All right. Franco, give us a run of the rule of the other players that are off contract just quickly.
All right, we've got a couple of juniors in Dylan Coots and Sam McCulloch, both sort of back rowers, lock. Pretty good. Haven't seen anything. Probably offer them a 1-year deal. They're available to be signed now by anyone. Wouldn't really like to see them go, but we've got a lot of talent in that position. Jaden Beryl, hooker in the Jets, clubman, he's available. I imagine he gets another 1-year deal as he has the last few years. So that will continue. There's no run really his age in the hooking role that could take his spot, I don't think. And he's a pretty good backup. And as I mentioned, Hiroti. So there's also Hohepa, but there was another one of those signings that wasn't quite a signing that I think said that he was signed for 2026. So he's done there as well. He's locked up, I think, for another year. But what does another year look like? So we talked about Sam Stonestreet signing on for another year. Well, what that means is for Sam Stonestreet and the others we're about to mention, they're available to talk to other clubs in a month's time. They can't play for those clubs for another year, but they can talk to and start looking at signing for other clubs. That includes Braden Hamlin-Ueli, Jesse Colhoun, Jesse Ramian, Sione Katoa, Siosifa Talakai, Toby Rudolph, Cam McInnes, Tapua, Chris Viella, Billy Burns, Sam Stonestreet, Nephi Peru, and a couple of other juniors. So all those players, as of November 1st, are available to talk to other clubs. I think there's a couple of big names in there we'd like to see announcements of and being locked up sooner rather than later.
Might be some North Sydney Bears players in there, at least, Franco.
Oh, I think there could be. I'd certainly like to.
Chris, on that list, who's your priority re-sign for 2027?
Billy Burns. He's gone from how the hell did we sign this guy to absolute starter in our team? He's a lockdown. It's strange. I know how the system works with November 1st, but I think if you're going into an off season and then into a preseason, you're probably not looking around after you've probably signed a 1-year deal. And I think Billy Burns would probably reward the club back for the loyalty we showed him, give him a contract and just a shot. So he's my guy because he's been unbelievable the last 2 months.
Lads?
Yeah, Billy Burns has been an absolute gun, showed that he's a real NRL player. But I'd want to lock down Sam Stonestreet longer. I don't want him talking to anybody. I think going forward, any injury to our outside, he's the next in line, has to be the next in line. We know what he can do. He's got speed. He's got talent. He's a good finisher. And he can make it in the top grade, as we know. And I think Sam Stonestreet is the one that we should lock down long term.
All right, Franco, I'll let you. I've got a final commentary on the player re-signings that I'm going to give last.
I mean, I'd like to see Burns and Colhoun signed, but it's just got to be Siosifa Talakai, right?
It does, doesn't it?
Just got to be. Get the man a chair, sit him in front of the table, and get him to sign something because he needs to be locked up. He's just amazing. Can fill a whole bunch of gaps in the team. And works well off the bench. So yeah, I'd be locking up Talakai for sure. But obviously there's a few names on that list that I'd like to stick around more than some that aren't.
All right, so just my final take on the off-contract players. I've been thinking about this a lot since the Friday show. I actually think we want to re-sign as many of the players as we can. We just want to re-sign them on the appropriate amount of money. So what we don't want to get caught doing is, I saw it's, Shauno asking, can we sign KO Weeks? Sister plays NRLW for us. If we were to go and try and sign KO Weeks, we're going to end up paying overs for them the same way that we did with Nico Hines. And if the Sharks are to actually win a premiership, we need our top guys to basically take less money. So we did it with, we weren't paying Lewis top bucks. We weren't paying Barber top bucks. Ennis came to us a little bit more cheaply than you could have expected. We need to get players on appropriate deals. And so I actually think I've completely flipped. I think we should sign Will Kennedy for the right amount of bucks. And as long as it's not a stupid amount of money and it's actually quite appropriate, and he's rated 23rd on the fullbacks list, let's make it work with the team that we've got, guys. We weren't that far off. So I'd play par for the core. I'm switched away from the big swings. I'm all about the loyalty. Except for Cam McInnes, I'd probably let him go to the Bears.
But
I'd probably try to sign
Do you think out of Billy Burns and Talakai and BHU and even Stone Street, do you think, maybe Stone Street, but do you think other clubs are actually sniffing around for those signatures? Like, could you see a club chasing down Talakai and we get into a bidding war? I don't, honestly.
Oh, Talakai would be pretty handy for most teams.
Yeah. I think Talakai loves the club, and you talk about loyalty. We gave him that lifeline. I think who knows what damage that rumor mill caused, but I think he'd be one of the players that is just talking to his manager saying, just sign. I don't need to shop around. That's fine. So maybe a bunch of clubs understand that that's his position and aren't going for him. But yeah, I reckon there'd be some sniffing around. Colhoun, young, up and coming kid that's shown.
Yep.
He's got
Billy Burns.
promise.
Someone had signed Billy Burns.
Billy Burns for sure. I reckon Toby Rudolph attracted attention on his last contract and negotiations, so it could be again. We heard rumours that the reason why it took so long to get Stone Street to re-sign was because he wanted more money. So if there's smoke and fire in that scenario, you've got to imagine that again he's going to be looking to try and find somewhere else that he can go to get more money after this contract, whether it's with the Sharks or with someone else. But yeah, I think there's a few there that are automatic re-signs if we want them, because I don't think there'll be people chasing them.
What's all the right bucks though? If Talakai wants $1 million, we can't sign him. But for the right money, we definitely want to do that. Stuart Campbell says Broncos list got leaked on paper and 23 plus players are on 350 grand or less.
I won't even go into how the Broncos do that, so we just won't. It won its reputation, and their third-party deals are through the roof. So it's just we're not even in the same talking conversations with the Broncos.
All right, let's move on, shall we, fellas? Sifa Talakai is the champ for me. All right, NRLW, our status. The Sharkies girls went down 17 points to 16 and looked like they were building towards the end of the season. So as we reflect on the Sharks, a couple of seasons now in with the NRLW, lads, where do you think we sit as an NRLW club?
Oh, we're right up there, mate. We're right up there. We top 3 for mine. It's just unfortunate. We had a lot of injuries through the year, especially. It took a while for Jada Taylor to get back, and as soon as she came back, she had an impact. And we showed how high up we are in those ranks on how we played against the reigning premiers who had won 18 games straight the other night. They been putting teams to the sword all season, and they didn't know what hit them. They were struggling there for a while. They hadn't had any competition like that for a long time. And we're growing, and we're a nice little outfit down here, and I think we're not too far off winning the premiership another few years.
Chris, how do you feel about the NRLW and the Sharks girls?
I said throughout the season they were just couldn't get that cohesion right, and it just wasn't working. I think it all came together in that game against the Roosters, and like Lat said, they showed what they're made of, going up against a team that absolutely put us to the sword a couple of weeks ago. I'd rank us as third, 100%. I think 2 grand finalists are deserving to be there. We were right in that game, and it probably is those. We switched Emma because Jada came back. We missed a few goal kicking opportunities in the team. The forwards rolled really well. I think we developed a few more girls. We'll get some more experience out of the season, and we just didn't have the right timing all season. So they'll take some massive pride coming out of that game because, again, like we said, we got flogged a month ago by the Rooster girls. We got flogged in the grand final, but fought back in the second half. And I think it's just one of those things where we just didn't capitalise enough on sin binning and copping a field goal in that situation. We also, in the last second, had a scrum. You know, we threw a roll of the dice kick through with Jada Taylor, which could have come off, but it just didn't. It just comes down to those little moments again in finals, as we all know. So they had a good finish, but not what we wanted out of the season. I thought would be grand finalists.
We're certainly close. I think the watching a bit of fair bit of NRLW now. I think there's some innovation coming in the tactics and the way the girls play that they haven't, or we haven't, and the rugby league community just hasn't thought of. There's a whole bunch of innovations, different body shapes and the ways that the different games plays. For one, the girls struggle to kick the ball from the sideline for the tries. So actually scoring the tries closer in is so much more important in the girls' matches than the guys' matches. And so there's almost a strategy to be called out, well, don't score out wide because we're going to try and charge over and storm over. And so I try and focus for that. Franko, have you got any whiz kid moves up your sleeve that you thought of that the NRLW girls should employ, or have you not thought of it yet?
Oh, look, it's there are, but whatever works there will also work in the NRL, right?
I don't know if that's true.
It is true, but it's just a matter of training, right? They are unfortunately semi-professional, so they don't get to train full time. They don't get to get that same fitness, that same strength build up over an off season. So yes, naturally they're not going to be as fast or as strong, and so you throw bodies at someone on the line repeatedly, they're going to fall over and score eventually, right? And unfortunately, kicking at distance is a bit tough. And look, they're better goal kickers than I am, so that's certainly not a knock on them. But yeah, kicking out wide is something that even in the men's, right, you don't want to score out wide because it's a difficult conversion. But I do think that, and this is one that Maddie Williams brought up a few times, is that it is a bit of a harken back to the older, less structured plays of say the 90s. And that's what I certainly see when watching the women's game, right? There's less wrestle. It's a faster game. You get up in a broken play and move forward there. So I think if you're talking about plays and trick shots and whatnot, I think that's sort of something that should happen around the 50-meter line to try and get your advantage. And that's where you should be looking to take advantage of tired players and work through the middle there. I think that's the goer.
So Gavin Miller and Barry Russell to coach the Sharks NRLW team next season is what we should expect. That sounds good. All right, let's get on to the final segment of the show, the comment competition. So let's just see if I can correctly put the Wheel of Fortune successfully up on the stage. There it is. I think I meant to put it there. Hold on. There we go. Look at that. All right, those are the finalists in the comment competition. So the winner of this gets a unit from displayware.com.au, best way to display your Sharks or other football jerseys. Lats has got one behind his head there, and I've got a couple. There we go. There are all of those.
South Korea. I want to see you post this to South Korea.
So let's just go through the list of people that are in this list.
Is it a front or back unit, Boldo?
That's a front unit. It's a front unit. All right. So in the list, we've got Shauno, who's been, I'm going to go from left to right. Shauno, who has been on fire tonight with the comments. So Shauno, hopefully, actually I can't say hopefully you win because I hope everyone wins. SJD, you absolute legend, one of the original viewers of the ET Stand, and Coach Fitzgibbon. Stuart Campbell, always a good commenter. Still need to do that episode with you on Leagues Club, Stuart. Tomo, fair justice if he won. Benny Turner, also very good in the comments. Cecile, we haven't seen Cecile tonight. Cecil, you legend. Cecil, we love you in the comments. Cecil. Scotty McLaren in the comments, of course, all the way from North Korea. Harley always tips the Sharks. It'd be nice if Harley won. James Munro's in there. Pete Bissett, your legend. SJD again. Rob Wall. And then Mr. Dave also with some funny comments. All right, boys, are we ready?
Geez, it looks like those red slices of pie are bigger than the others.
That is not possible. All right, let's go. The winner.
Spit it.
Spin it.
And out of nowhere comes Todd Carney.
Oh, it's Stewie Campbell.
Stewie Campbell.
There we go. We have a winner, Stewie Campbell. So, God,
Yeah,
Stewie
good.
Campbell, now you're definitely going to have to do that episode with us about the League Cup. So, Stewie, send us a message on the Discord channel and we'll send you out a unit from Displayware. You can put it up in your new child's bedroom and put a Sharks jersey on it. I'm sure your wife will absolutely love that piece of paraphernalia in your child's bedroom. Stewie Campbell with the win. There we go. All right, guys.
Yeah, good.
That was the last segment. We got a few other comments through here. So let's just go through any that we might have missed. So go through here. Let's look at those.
Well, Harley's put up the clap emojis. Congratulations to Stewie. So
On your Harley.
Stewie.
Sport.
Harley's
Legend.
just the best. There he is. Stewie Campbell in the comments. How good. Aren't you glad you hung around, Stewie? Have you ever won anything? Other
yeah,
than
now.
Wasn't
Yeah,
a 2025 prelim, unfortunately.
It certainly hasn't.
He's won
hasn't
it
that.
live.
He just won it live because he gets to support the Sharks. I'm just trying. There's a couple of good comments here. There are so many. Did Ronnie turn into Michael Jackson comments? Just absolutely competent. Absolutely competent from you blokes. There's just one. There was one from Shauno that I thought was pretty good. I can't find it. It's too many comments. If you want to get a good comment in there, sorry, Mr. Dave, you didn't win. If you want to get a comment in there, throw us a super chat. All right, fellas. Well, so I think the plan is, I don't think the plan, this is what I was thinking the plan was, is that we, that's really a season wrap for us. We'll do some episodes during the holidays, but in terms of Tuesday night live shows, we'll do a couple here or there, but we won't be back live every week. It's always a bummer to say goodbye to the Sharks fans, isn't it?
It is.
It's never goodbye. It's only hello.
Or it's only see you next time, isn't it?
But Shauno just
Well, it's
comes
not
through
see you
with
next Tuesday.
Oh, yeah, we haven't even talked about the grand final. Storm to win, so Ezra can crash out of the final.
We don't care. We don't care.
Yeah, I don't care either. Come down and watch it with me at the damn Miranda Hotel. Keep me company.
Boldo, before we go, can I
Yes.
just give a shout out to Levon and Ash from Wise Up TV and to the big ups for the Warriors taking out the New South Wales Cup and thrashing the Dragons. It's always good to see the drag queens go down to and to go down to someone as good as the Warriors and our mates over there across the ditch. Yeah, good on them.
Good on them. Oh, well, we like the Warriors, guys. And shout out to everyone who's contributed to the show during the season. Most notably, our dear friend Matty Williams, who's not with us tonight, who's making sure the planes don't crash. Then we've got Williams 2.0, James Munro. I'm trying to think of all the other dial-ins. Lynn,
Rob.
Stephen. I'm trying to think. Sean. Gary. Now I'm just making up names. Rob, Byron, Haley. Anyway, all right, that was the ET.
Jump in the
Annalise, yeah, jump in the boot. All right, that was the ET Stand podcast. Sharks fans, look, a disappointing end of the season. And it's always pretty much always disappointing end of the season for the Sharks, except for that one time. Just sincere thanks from me and all of the guys at the ET Stand. We do have a lot of fun putting this on for you guys. It's just an absolutely brilliant time. So we'll see you guys throughout the off season sporadically, and we'll be back probably after Australia Day for our regular Tuesday night shows as we build towards. Let's just look at all this, Sharks fans, and I'm just going to say this to you, and I'll look at the camera. Each year we build up a little bit and we improve just a little bit more. Last year we got pumped by the Panthers in the prelim. This year we almost beat the Storm. We dropped 2 points. Fitzgibbon keeps getting better. Believe in Nico Hines. We've got so many up-and-coming players. One of those guys is going to be unearthed at fullback. Ronaldo's going to keep pushing towards the all-time try-scoring record. I can start to believe and feel it, guys. 2026, year of the Shark. There's no way we can possibly lose from here, guys. Up, Cronulla.
Too soon.
For over 50 years, people have come to see the Sharks play. Talent, skill, speed, intelligence, elite elite level athleticism. That's not these guys. Biased, one-eyed, opinionated, more often wrong than right. They make up for their complete lack of talent with pure dribble, gibberish, and enthusiasm. This is the ET Stand Podcast.